Welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad. It's Wednesday, September 4th, 2024. I'm Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins, the senior minister here at Sunshine Cathedral.
I am Reverend Dr. Robert Griffin, the executive minister. Faith and religion can be complicated for the LGBTQ plus community. Surveys show that evangelical faith is the justification for the greatest attacks on the LGBTQ plus community.
I am Reverend Kevin Tisdall, the Minister of Education. The Queer God Squad is going to explore our religious community. Let's explore the big news of the day and what it means to you.
I am Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell, the Minister of Connections. This is live, and then we are available on demand. If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform and social media.
At Sunshine Cathedral, we're here to tell you that you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. Voting is a way to pray for the kind of country we want. The Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock, a U.S. Senator and the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, the pulpit once occupied by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., holds a Ph.D. from Union Theological Seminary in New York. He has said before and said again at the Democratic Convention in Chicago, a vote is a kind of prayer for the kind of world we want to live in, and our prayers are stronger when we pray together, end quote. As a theologian and a public servant, Dr. Warnock seems to believe that prayer is more than beautiful words, but is action, intent, hope, a participation in the direction of our lives. This is what I'm praying for: reproductive freedom, bodily autonomy, building your family your way, strong unions, lower prescription costs, infrastructure, healthcare, pensions, empathy, diversity, a greener economy, safety and dignity for LGBTQ plus families. I will pray for those things. I'll pray those with my thoughts, my words, my personal efforts, and with my vote. What are you praying for with your vote? The Queer God Squad will discuss this idea of prayer, and we will encourage you to join us in prayer by casting your vote in November. You know, in my theology, God isn't a separate thing. Isn't Santa Claus giving me good things if I behave? Isn't a judge punishing me, waiting to catch me in the act of some mischief and then punish me for it? Those gods I threw on the trash heap decades ago.
Yeah.
I think that's what the spiritual journey is. It's finding how small your God is and getting rid of it and replacing it with something bigger, and then finding how small that God is and getting rid of it and finding something bigger, and then discovering how small that God is and getting rid of it, finding something bigger. That's the ongoing spiritual journey. And so that anthropomorphic God is no longer my God. What I call God, and I realize that some people aren't comfortable even with that word, I don't have to use it. Because what I mean by God is ultimate reality. I mean isness. I mean the ground of being, not a being, but pure being. What every being comes out of and is part of. That for me is God. You can't put a face on it, or perhaps you could put every face that's ever been on it. However you want to look at that. And so since I don't have a Santa God to write a letter to ask for things, and I don't have a Marquita God to be afraid of and run from when they're wanting to, strap me, to a table, since I don't have those gods, but I do believe in prayer. So what is prayer for me? Prayer for me is focusing on what is good. Prayer for me is doing what I think is good. Prayer for me is loving, is being loving, is extending love in whatever way I know how to do. Prayer for me is meditating on my unity with that which is, that source of life that we can call mother or father or God or goddess. And so prayer for me is a way of being. It's a way of getting still and realizing I'm part of this great whole, and so are you. So I'm part of you. So when I pray for you, I'm wishing you well, knowing that love, that goodwill, that hope is reaching you through unseen conduits, that this mystery of prayer is somehow me touching you even if you're not next to me, or me reaching you even if I don't call you on the phone, or me uplifting you and sending you encouragement even if you don't know it's me doing it. That's what prayer for me. It's an energy. It is a focus. It is an intention. Well, with that theology, voting, I'm 100% with Dr. Warnock, that when I'm voting, I'm praying. When I vote for candidates who are saying they're going to work for universal health care, I'm praying for the health of everybody.
Yeah.
And when I vote for people who say that they want to make sure that all school children, regardless of income, are fed and are well nourished, I'm praying for all the children. And when I vote for people who believe and support in marriage equality, I am praying for justice for everyone. And when I vote for people who want to protect or reestablish or reaffirm a woman's right to bodily autonomy, I am praying for women and for families and for independence. So my vote is a prayer. In fact, it is one of the most effective ways to pray. Because I can say, please, Santa God, make everything okay. Or I could say, God within me, help me do what I can to make things better. So for me, a vote is a prayer. And I will be praying in November. And I hope you will too. That's cue for somebody.
We were kind of taking
I was actually praying on that. I was actually praying on your words.
I was doing some math, and this fall, this general election will be the 52nd time that I have voted in a general election. And what you said is just so clear, that every single time I voted, I was voting for something positive. I was voting for a person who espoused views that most closely mirrored mine. And I cannot remember a single time that I voted for a person who had, in my opinion, a negative aura. I vote for things that I want to come to being. Isn't that kind of what a prayer is? You're praying for a better something most of the time. You could be praying for someone's health. You could be praying for a better job for someone or for yourself. You could be praying for a better world. Well, that's no different than voting for an individual who will do that in real time. So yeah, I've been praying all the time.
Right. You know, when I pray, it tends to be very meditative, focusing on one thing, and then people and just things that people have going on in their lives, things going on in my life. But then I've always been a strong proponent of putting action behind that, putting action behind those prayers. I remember a number of years ago, when we were just starting the food sharing program, I was saddened by how many people would come by the church looking for something to eat. And then you had come and said, maybe we'd think about a lunch program. That might work. And it has exploded into this wonderful outreach ministry. It's putting action behind those things. Where we see a need, then we fill the need. That is prayer.
Yes.
We say at Sunshine Cathedral, what God does for us, God does through us. And in our liturgy, of course, our liturgy changes. We're always updating it and changing. But right now, part of our intercessory prayers are we pray and we allow ourselves to be the answer to our prayers.
Absolutely.
I was so caught up when Reverend Warnock made that statement about prayer. And I mean, it's one of those statements that, like, when it hits your bones, well, as soon as he said it, it just hit me. And it resonated with me, and it was like one of those more than an aha moment. It was just like, that's what this is about. It is about voting as a way of prayer. And so of course I put that on Facebook, and of course there were some people who did not like that I suggested that on Facebook and wanted to challenge me and push back on it. One of the comments, well, good luck with that. And I was like, really?
Wow.
And so my thought was like, yeah, just like each of you, every time I have prayed, every time I have voted, it has been a vote for prayer. A vote of prayer. Praying for something better, praying for something different, praying for a change. And that has been in everything I've done. And that's why those words just resonated with me, because I thought about those who had gone before us. They were voting and they were praying. And their vote was a prayer to make it better.
Absolutely.
If you've been to Selma, you walked across that bridge, that all was about a vote for prayer, vote in prayer, and a prayer to make change, and a vote to make change happen. And we're still living some of it, but it's gotten better. It's not picture perfect, but every time that it's done, it is a vote of prayer that we are making it better for somebody else.
Right.
And so I'm sorry that this person was so wrapped in their privilege
Right.
that they couldn't see the other side of this, or so wrapped in that privilege that, they kind of cast some shame on me for not being inclusive enough for my prayer to include them in theirs. And at some point, it's like, you know what, this is not bringing me any love, hope, or joy. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Hello.
Exactly.
Because I remember that because they said, because sometimes I can't help myself, I have to jump in.
Yeah.
And
Shocking.
that person said, good luck with that kind of prayer.
Yeah.
And I just said, good luck with any kind of prayer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Rolling the dice, whatever you do. Hello.
So,
Yep, absolutely. Wishing only the best, wishing only love.
Yeah.
but that just moved me. That's how it just moved me to my bones. It was wonderful.
Yes. And the prayer, the vote that is a prayer, that is a prayer that has been met with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is a prayer that has
Water
been met
hoses.
with hoses.
Fire hoses.
The fire hoses. That is a prayer that's been met with billy clubs.
Yeah.
That has been a prayer that has been tried to be sabotaged with gerrymandering, with literacy tests, with poll taxes,
Yep.
with all kinds of shenanigans, with trying to get votes not to be certified, with trying to require more ID than should even be required, because a lot of people in rural areas that are of a certain age, they're from before that,
Yeah.
and they just don't have all that documentation. So whatever. So this vote is powerful prayer, so powerful people have tried to derail it since the beginning. So powerful that women weren't even allowed to do it until the early part of the 20th century. This is a very powerful thing. So it is a prayer. It is a prayer of power. It is the power of prayer. And so yes, I do hope you will join us in praying for our country on November 5th. You can add words to that if you want to, but make sure that you pray with your vote. I just remember St. Francis, who said, pray at all times. When necessary, use words. So yeah, pray in all kinds of ways, all the time. And your vote is one of those ways. So on November 5th, please join us in the spirit of prayer. Well, that's today for the Queer God Squad. We want to thank you for joining us. We're here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and to discuss what our LGBTQ plus community is talking about.
The Sunshine Cathedral is the world's largest progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. And we are all in this together. Remember that.
You are God's miracle, not God's mistake.
Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad. Goodbye.